Hello, good morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Here is morning and it's raining and it's really, really dark. Satsangat Astrology here. Today I am back with part 3 of the USA Pluto return. Even though this is an astrological analysis of what is happening for the US, meaning the astrology compared to the natal USA chart, United States of America chart. But as you probably know, the whole world is watching this country, and especially now with the elections and having a new president and new a new kind of politics, right? So that is really affecting the rest of the world as well because of the power of this country. So I will try to analyze, of course, I'm not going to go really deep and be very detailed, but I will touch up on the main transits and events for the first part of the 2021 astrology. I will start by sharing my screen. I will share my presentation here so you can appreciate and follow along my explanation about this. So today is December 19th, 2020. And this is about the United States of America Pluto return that is happening starting this year, next year, 2021, and up until 2022. Meaning that the conjunction will be just a few degrees orb. So we count specifically 3-degree orb. And Pluto is already within the 3-degree orb. So that's why I thought it was important to follow along the process of this Pluto return. If you haven't watched the first, second videos about this, I highly recommend it because in the first one, I explain I compare to another historical Pluto return that may resonate or not with this Pluto return for the United States. So let me explain that I also publish daily on Instagram, MeWe, Tumblr, Facebook, and I write daily astrology tips about transits, current transits that you may be interested in following. I also write a blog. It's satsangadastrology.blogspot.com. It's the Google blog. And I am relaunching, in fact, a basic astrological course in January that you may register for if you're interested in learning the basics. Even though this is a long course that will probably last the whole year, and you can learn about everything. If you are interested, I can send you the syllabus together with the pricing and all that. And I encourage you, if you are learning astrology, to register for this course because it's very comprehensive. It touches on all the elements of the basic astrology. So I also accept donations at this time for my free work. You know, I do a lot of free work on YouTube and social media. and it takes time, actually. So if you are so inclined and you are able to, you're welcome to donate to support my hours, long hours of work. And thank you in advance for that. So the Pluto return for the United States of America, I think it starts when in April 28th, Pluto stations retrograde. It is about 45 minutes away from the natal position of Pluto at 2733. So you see here the difference between is 45 minutes away. So it is within the degree. So I consider that to be important already. But the actual precise exact conjunction will happen on February 3rd, 2022. And then it will be 3 times because Pluto will be retrograde as it usually is for about 5 months a year, you know. So it will be retrograde conjunction on June 22nd and then direct again December 10th. So the year 2022 will be the really crucial year for the United States in regards to the transformation, maybe transmutation of this country. So, and I will, in this segment or this video, I will go through the most important transits for January through April and then May to June. But I would like to start with January. And in January, I already introduced part of the January transits when I went over the inauguration chart in the part 2 of Pluto return for USA. If you like to go back and watch that one, because the astrology of January 20th, the inauguration day, is very powerful. But at the same time, we also have in January, starting on January 31st, Mercury will be retrograde in Aquarius, which is also the 3rd house of the natal USA chart. And it will last until the retrogradation will last until February 21st. But if we consider the shadow, we can say that the inauguration will be within the shadow of Mercury retrograde. And the shadow starts at 11 degrees Aquarius on January 15th. So it means that Mercury will go back over that event that happens on January 20th, which is the inauguration, and back over revision, reconsideration, and then it will go direct again to finally give us Mercury's conclusion or resolution about what Mercury is doing about that. So, as I said, the shadow lasts between January 15th and March 13, and that will be from 11 degrees Aquarius to 26, meaning that on March 13, Mercury will pass the 26th degree of Aquarius and leave for the year. So that it's at the same time happening with the transit Saturn going conjunct the south node of the USA. And, the south node of America is at 6 degrees 36 minutes, and that will happen February 2nd, 12th, February 12th. And that is very important, as I mentioned in the previous video, because Saturn are the structures, and the south node is usually the past. So, and Saturn was in Aquarius before, right? And between May and May and July. So during that time, we were under lockdown and in the process of social or physical distancing and all kinds of measures to protect us from the pandemic. So we may go back to that stage, but Saturn transiting Saturn conjoining the south node may also go back and bring back to the present the structures of the past of this country. And Saturn rules the second house of economy. So it might be that there are things in the economy that needs to be brought to light and review, reconsider, and also change, right? Because it's having the south node is like bringing from the past, bringing it up in order to view and make changes, right? The direction that the country should go is marked by the north node, but in the south node we find what we already have and the changes that we may make, and in order to take the direction of the north node, in this case in Leo, right, of leadership. So those are the changes that need to be made in the economy in order to continue the leadership or transform the leadership. Also, transit Saturn on February 17 will be squaring Uranus, transiting Uranus. And that is the most powerful transit for 2021, because the square Saturn-Uranus, transit Saturn-Uranus will be will happen 3 times, right? This time in February, it will be at 7 degrees 14. Again, right by the south node of the moon. Transit in Saturn, as I said, rules the economy, and transiting Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus for the United States is the house of the 6th house, the house of things that go out of balance and need fixing. For example, conflicts and problems and things that are not in harmony, right? Is the natural house of Virgo, which is that needs healing or needs repair. You know, Virgo is a sign that is focused on finding what is faulty, what doesn't work, and repair it. So here you have then the economy and the repairing of it. So Uranus can bring changes, right? Sudden changes, unexpected, or it can bring really very innovative and cutting edge solutions, genius solutions. Uranus can bring insights that can be very revolutionary, but at the same time, very smart conflict resolutions. So it is the sign of Taurus, which is also the resources of the land, of the earth. And we cannot discard, though, some negative influences by this Uranus transit in Taurus, because it can bring natural catastrophes. And usually the natural catastrophes help us understand what is not working and what needs fixing, right? When the COVID-19 appeared, then all the problems with the healthcare came up, and so many other things that we weren't aware of, problems that in society and in the economy and the markets, food distribution, medicine, trades, right? We discovered that so many things were made in China, and with the lockdown, we were out of the loop for the trading. And so the scarcity of masks, medicines, and personal protective equipment, and so many other things that came up to light to make us understand that there were things that needed fixing, right? So this transit, Saturn, Uranus, the whole 2021 will be very important for the United States to repair what is broken, what is not working anymore. Specifically with natural resources, the economy, the food distribution, and any kind of resources distribution. So also on February 17, together with that, the sun will conjunct the natal moon. So the sun will be shedding its light on the people, right? And probably in Aquarius, the social part of the social part of the social needs, I would say, the social needs of people. So February 17 will certainly be a very strong transit and a very important date. And we will see matters related to the themes that I just described. We need to also consider that these transits in Aquarius are happening in the third house of the United States. Meaning that cities, neighborhoods, and local affairs will be touched by these transits, and all means of disseminating news, information, even communication networks, the internet, communication devices, computers, phones, faxes, the press, even the post office, newspapers, magazines, everything that is published massively in society, emails, publications, literature of all kinds, periodicals, television. The transportation system will also be affected, and also all means of inland or domestic travel or transits. Locomotion, right? Even walking for people, the moon, will be affected. So communications, as I said, it could be transportation like railways, road and river traffic, cars, underground networks, etc. But also the elementary school. So something can happen there that can be trying to fix or repair the elementary school level, maybe going back to virtual teaching, or in some way changing things to repair what doesn't work. So it also, the third house for a nation rules the neighboring countries. So the neighboring countries will be Canada and Mexico. So it could be trading arrangements with or agreements with those countries, and documents related to international agreements in general, but mainly with the neighboring countries because of the third house. With Saturn conjunct the South Node, as I said, there could be a review of transportation system and the structure of transportation, especially air transportation, because Aquarius is the sign of air travel. So it could mean that we go back to old rules, regulations, or restrictions implemented in the past. So we can count on the air travel to receive a certain hit, I would say. But then in this case, it's a challenge to repair something that is not working. So fixing defects or fixing the system, right? February 17, as I said, there is the square, and it, as I said, Uranus introduces innovation and something that we might not ever before considered possible could now be a solution for the problems that we are facing. I will put a description in the description box below. I will put a description because I don't want to take too much time, but the big, huge differences between Saturn and Uranus, and you will be see in comparison what Saturn is associated with and what Uranus is associated with. Mainly, Saturn is solid matter, traditional traditional things and old ways of doing things, and Uranus is electricity, excitement, and the wave energies. So we can see the clashes between Earth and air, right? Air can blow over the Earth and produce erosion, right? So I'll refer you to the description box to see those differences. Okay, so let's go to April now. March is not that it's too quiet, but the most remarkable and significant transits come back in April. Mars in Gemini will square the transit Neptune and the natal Neptune. Why? Because the transit Neptune is opposing the natal Neptune. So that is very significant as well. And I think Mars squaring Neptune is very significant because it can indicate a hidden or secret war. Like, for example, we just heard a few days ago about the cyber attack that the United States have been receiving for months without awareness of the Department of, I don't know, the defense, I guess. So the intelligence has been out of the loop on this, and probably very important, very significant information leaked out of the country, and the country's security is at risk. So having Mars square Uranus is very indicative of some secret, probably cyber war or cyber fight of some kind, because that's the modern way of doing things, right? But it could be also people, conspirations against the country undercover that are not seen out in the world. So it is a very dangerous transit, especially considering the context and the events that are happening presently, right? So in mundane astrology, the fourth house, which is Mars, let's see, the fourth house is Pisces, right? The fourth house where Neptune is transiting presently is associated with crops, mines, property and real estate agents, development and housing issues, and living conditions, and the placement of corporate buildings or factories. So having Mars square this house, all of these things may suffer. So it may be some, let's say, Neptune rules germs, right? Especially those that are invisible, like mainly fungi, but also bacteria and viruses. So let's take an example. The crops may be attacked by certain kind of illness, right? Or a bug or something. And or the property may be under some kind of property may be under attack, or the housing market may suffer from, let's say, Mars is in Taurus. So Mars, no, Mars square, no, it's in Gemini, sorry. So Mars in Gemini is transiting the seventh house. And the seventh house is enemies of the country, open enemies, right? It could be partners, but it's people or countries that are opposing the country. So Mars in Gemini can indicate that something, aggression from other countries may affect the housing or corporate buildings, factories, and even mines, as I said, and the crops or the production. So, and it's, as I said, it's in a T-square because Neptune is opposing natal Neptune at 22 degrees. So that is important. In April 17, we have the transiting sun in Aries, squaring Pluto, and at the same time, Pluto will be conjunct, the transiting Pluto will be conjunct stationary retrograde, the natal Pluto. So this is also very powerful. The sun will be in Aries, where the sun is exalted. And so we can, let me see, I have it. So the sun is, as I said, in Aries will be the fifth house of the country. And the fifth house is associated with the ammunition of a town under attack, But it's also the diplomacy, ambassadors and diplomats, all public places of enjoyment and recreation like parks, theaters, art galleries, national art galleries, national parks, and all state-owned buildings, and also the schools and the education system, which is high schools. Middle school and high school. The sun, the transiting sun, may highlight situations regarding the enjoyment, right, of the population and the places of enjoyment. And also it may shed light on the educational system at a middle level, and it can also shed light on problems with diplomacy or diplomats. And in square with Pluto, that will be very transformative for the economy, right? Because Pluto, natal Pluto, is in the second house of the United States. That is, as I said, a very important date on April 17, because on April 18, Pluto turns retrograde. And as it is stationary for some time on the same degree and minutes, it intensifies the influence. So we can count this as already the start of the transmutation of the country. So let's move on to the May to July 2021. And this period includes the 2 eclipses. And if I have time, I will analyze them. Otherwise, I will do that on part 4. So, but for the preliminary May to July, we have on May 2nd, the transit Neptune opposing exactly the natal Neptune. And as I said a few days ago, at that time, it was the Mars T-square. Now we have the opposition, which happens every, it's 100 and about 60, 70 years. So we can go back about 60 or 70 years ago, where the conjunction took place, and meaning the beginning of the cycle, right? Now we have the opposition. So anything that started back then will have the culmination or the most fruitful consequences at this time. So this is the maximum potential of that cycle. And from this point, from May on, for the next 60, 70 years, it will be the period where these Neptune themes will be assimilated and processed and incorporated into the cycle, right? Neptune is, as I said, Neptune, it is, let me see, in the 10th house, right? I use, for this, I use whole sign houses, meaning that each sign is one house. So it's in Virgo, and it is in the 10th house. So that indicates a lot of, how do I say this? Dreaming or imaginary context, right? The United States imagines itself to be the leader of the world, to have this leadership, imagines itself to be the most powerful country. So this is this dreamy condition that the country has of being also the saviors, right? The United States go around the world preaching and teaching other countries how to do things the better way. So it is that kind of leadership that also it's preachy, is if you want, it wants to be the spiritual, the inspiration, the spiritual influence for other countries, without understanding that each country and each region of the world, not only do they have a particular culture, but that culture has been developed throughout millennia, probably in many places. And it depends on the context, on the environment, on the resources that the region or the country has, on the cultural, how people, the beliefs of people, and so many factors that form a culture, right? It's not just politics, it's not just the production of food, right? It is so many factors that are a whole culture. And sometimes when you introduce a different culture, it doesn't really work because it doesn't consider all the aspects of the culture, all the aspects of the country's identity. And so that's why this is, as I said, an imaginary, fantastic leadership, because it's not really founded in the reality of Virgo, right? Neptune rules Pisces, which is the dreams. But Virgo is the sign that really we should be focused on the material, the practical issues, and not so much on what we hope that it could be, right? So these the opposition of the transit Neptune to the natal Neptune can bring to light and make the country realize this issue, right? How about we have been dreaming? And it also has another connotations that are more negative, which is that the 10th house is the leadership of the country. And in many ways, they may be deceiving themselves, or maybe deceivers of the people, which is the 4th house, right? So it has this dichotomy that throughout history, and we are now seeing this because, for example, I heard in the news something, what was it? Someone, leadership of an institution was saying that the issue of the Negro Leagues of the 40s and 50s, you know, that the issue was overlooked. And that word was kind of, I mean, right now, the masses of people are realizing that there has been a systemic implementation of measures and dispositions and rules, regulations targeted to marginalize not only Black people, but certain sectors of society. And and this might be part of this realization, right? That we are coming face to face with the reality of things, how the system, 10th house, the political leadership have been either deceiving themselves or just making up things, right? And now the people, because the transiting Neptune in Pisces is um, giving people this insight into things, this understanding, this discovery. Okay, now we realize that what has been done. Okay, so that's another significant. Neptune will eventually also retrograde, right? Don't remember the exact degrees of its retrograde. It will probably come back pretty close to that degree. Oh, I can tell you later on the other videos about this. Okay, May 23rd. But we also have between May 15 and July 7th, we have Mercury retrograde season. And it happens between 16 and 24 of Gemini. Although the retrogradation happens between May 29 and June 22nd. So coming from 24 degrees of Gemini to 16 degrees of Gemini. But the shadow, as I said, starts on May 15. So what that means is that everything that is happening between May 15 and July 7th, it will be reviewed a couple of times again. And those events will be the transiting Saturn station retrograde square transiting Uranus, and that happens at 13 degrees 31 minutes on May 23rd. And that is very important because in Aquarius, again, the sign of communications, as I explained before. So this is the same themes that I already explained earlier in the video. Then we will have the very powerful lunar eclipse at 5 degrees Sagittarius on the ascendant, right? Sagittarius lunar eclipse will be square Jupiter, transiting Jupiter, that then on May 26 will happen to be at 1 degree Pisces. And also the natal series, which is nurturance and how people receive the things that they need. At the same time, we have the Neptune opposition together, because it lasts for a long time. It's not a fast transit, right? Neptune takes a long time in 1 degree. So it will be then the lunar eclipse will be the culmination of the December 14th solar eclipse that we just had a few days ago. And again, 6 months after is the culmination or the completion of this. And one of the things, again, that I want to highlight is the cyber attack on the United States, because the solar eclipse was opposing in December, right, was opposing Mars. And Mars is in the house of the other countries, right? Allies could be other countries that are partners, but it could be also enemies. So secret enemies or public enemies. So in this case, it's also, and the December eclipse was squaring Neptune, right? So we see the deceit, right? Mars square Neptune, the deception, right? Things that were happening in secret and undercover, right? It's like a virus, right? A virus works and it's invisible. We don't see it, but it's very powerful. So in Mars, in this case, I'm reviewing the December solar eclipse in Sagittarius. Mars rules the 5th house and the 12th houses, into 12th house of the country, and Neptune, the 4th house, which is the people. So you can see that 12th house is secret enemies and spies and undercover attacks, etc. And then the 5th house is also, as I said, diplomats and ambassadors. So the country, with this solar eclipse in Sagittarius that happened December 14th, the country is compelled to change something about its own behavior and actions and the way they are in the world, right? The presence they have in the world. So the conflict, as I announced during that eclipse, arose about this cyber war that the United States is receiving. So as I mentioned, the 5th house, it could be related to the ammunition, right? The defenses that we have, and it could involve ambassadors, diplomats, and I know that I heard in the news that some ambassadors were removed from probably Russia. I don't remember exactly, but I heard news about ambassadors being removed from other countries. So in the 12th house is spies, secret enemies of the nation, either at home or abroad, underground movements, secret societies and occult groups. So it could also be banished or imprisoned persons, you know, hospitals, asylums, institutions governing those who are weak and firm or need support. So the pandemic also was very relevant for the solar eclipse of December. So now we have the completion in May 26th. We have the completion of that. So we may see the results of that process of 6 months. So probably the United States will take measures regarding that those undercover attacks, either the real virus that attacks people or the virus that is attacking the country. So then we have the Gemini 10th, the Gemini solar eclipse on June 10th. And then again on June 14th, we have the last, well, not last really, but the last exact square between Saturn and Uranus, following again the same process that I described early. From July 1st to the 3rd, we have transiting Mars in Leo, opposing transiting Saturn, and squaring Uranus in Taurus. So this is a T-square that is very, very powerful. And as we see the Mars in Leo, Mars in Leo is the 9th house, and where we have the North Node. So the North Node in Mars having the transits in the 9th house, it talks about foreign affairs, right? And Mars is a lot of activity with other countries that could be or not allies or partners of the country. But Mars can also mean aggression of some kind. As I said, in Leo could be aggression from head of state, because of Leo represents the leadership, right? So it could be aggression from a head of states of another country, or and having Saturn here in transiting the 3rd house, it will be communications, right? And Mars opposite Saturn is not usually is not too good. It could intensify the work on communication networks and internet, etc. But it could also mean that having Uranus as the apex of the T-square, it could be that a conflict arises because this is the 6th house of conflicts and problems that need to be repaired. So as you see, it could be communication, it could be with other partners regarding a conflict. So we cannot predict exactly what that can be, but we can analyze the eclipse, the solar eclipse in Gemini, 19 degrees conjunct the natal Mars now. So first of all, here we have then the chart for the total lunar eclipse on May 26, 2021. So here we have, it is total eclipse because it's so close to the transiting nodes. 5th degree, and the 1st house of the country's identity square. As I said, here we have Ceres at 8 degrees and Jupiter transiting Pisces. So things may the trigger for this eclipse may be the people, and also the 4th house represents the opposition to the authorities, and that's also other things that are that's also another thing that is indicated by the square Saturn Uranus, right? So clashes between the old ways of doing things and the new innovative ways of doing things. So as you see, it's a very tense configuration on this eclipse, and it is very important because the moon is on the transiting the ascendant of the United States. So and this is the description that I just gave you about The first house is the common people, or the general state of the nation, the position in the world, the country and its inhabitants as a whole. It's a general condition of prosperity and health, or the reverse, right? It could be anything. So the health of the country in general, not meaning the actual health of people, but how well the country is doing in prosperity, and how well the country functions and is. In the seventh house, where the sun is the house of public enemies of the nations, and I already described that. So next, the solar eclipse on June 10th will be on the seventh house as well, of partnerships or enemies. And it's at 19, it's conjuncting by 2-degree orb Mars, natal Mars, and square with Neptune. So here we have again this probably cyber war going on, right? From some other country, and it's undercover. It comes towards the leadership of the country, right? The 10th house represents the authorities and the public figures leading the country, and the fourth house represents then the foundation. And in mundane astrology, I read it also represents the opposition. So, and here we have probably another entity interfering between these two and triggering this opposition, or using the division in the country. So that's why now more than ever, people, the Americans, should be united in one purpose and one goal, and trying to find a common ground where they can work together, because otherwise other countries will overpower this country, and not only invade underground, you know, through the cyber virtual world, but it could undermine the very foundation of the country. So it is very important to for people to find peace, to end conflicts and antagonism, and sit together and talk and see a solution, because otherwise this country is going down. As I said, other countries may be taking advantage in order to destroy this country. The seventh house, as I said, it could be also whether war or peace may be expected. Treaties and agreements with other nations can go bunkers. International warfare, in this case, since we are entering the air, you know, Jupiter and Saturn conjuncting in air signs, I don't expect to have physical wars where people will kill each other, but more of a cyber war, virtual wars. That I don't know, they may be even worse, because, as I said, enemies of the country may attack us through the water supplies, to the power supplies, electricity, for example. The attacks could be very detrimental for the basic resources that ensure survival. It could be the healthcare system. I mean, the internet is so vulnerable at this present time that the attacks from other countries could be from to targeting any resources that are important. So again and again, I encourage people to find peace and resolve the conflicts, the differences between political parties or different political views, because the country is in danger. So this is then what I just described, just for you to have the reference. And I want to say that you can always contact me with questions and comments. I hope this it's kind of a broad guideline for you to face 2021 and see what might be expected. So these are the references that I used. I'm not a specialist in mundane astrology at all, but I was just investigating. That's why I just used the very basic significations, right? To give you, if you are a specialist and if you have an objection or if you have a clarification, I encourage you to write it in the comments below and clarify for people, because it's very crucial that we get in the right track for this. So without further ado, I wish you the best for these first 6 months of the year. I will be back with more information about the rest of the year for the and continue in 2022 for the actual Pluto return. But for now, I leave you with my contact information, and I invite you to follow me on the social media and also read my blog. Every time I publish something, you can be notified by if you subscribed by mail, by email. So I also offer, starting in January, I relaunched my basic astrology course that I will cover all basic items in the astrology. It will probably last the whole year. The course will probably last the whole year. And order your personal reading with me. You won't be deceived, that's for sure. And you can read on, there is a page on my blog that talks about the reviews from my clients, people who have taken my classes, people who have received my readings, and they're very satisfied. So if you appreciate my free work, I would welcome any donations for it, since it takes a lot of time and research to do this free work. So thank you in advance for the attention that you gave me, and thank you for supporting me. I wish you the best during the holidays that are coming really soon, and stay safe, and thank you again for watching, and I see you next time. Bye-bye.